so far behind on my bills, and I still haven't found a job.
It is going to all be okay. Besides, don't you have a job interview this afternoon?
Yes. Man, if I do well in this interview, this could change my life. Oh wow. Get a look at this chick. Who comes to the gym wearing a full face of makeup?
Well, you never know. Maybe it's for a reason.
The reason is she's desperate for attention. How pathetic. Look at her body. She's obviously had work done. And why even bother working out if you're gonna have surgery? Doesn't even look good.
Well, I think it looks pretty good. And besides, maybe she worked really hard to get that body.
Worked really hard. Don't be so naive. The only person that worked hard was the doctor who gave her that body.
Oh no! You think she hurt us? Oh, I hope we didn't hurt her feelings.
I hope she did hear us. Maybe she won't come around here anymore. Come on, I gotta get ready for my interview. Oh, wow. She's getting into a brand new Tesla. Must be nice having some rich guy pay for everything. Some of us have to work to earn our own money.
You're talking really loud. She's gonna hear you. Maybe she worked really hard to get her money. Besides, you should never talk bad about anyone. It can always come right back to you.
Come on, come back to me. That's nonsense. Besides, I hope she did hear me. A girl like that has never worked hard for anything in her life. Anyway, can I borrow $20 for my gas tanks on E? You promise I'll pay you back when I get my new job.
All right. Yes, of course. Here you go.
Thank you. Hello, are you here for the interview? Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you. This has been my dream job.
Hi, I am.
Wait. Do we know each other? No. I don't think so.
Really? Because when I saw you earlier at the gym, you sure seemed like you knew a lot about me.
Oh. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. That was all just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was a big misunderstanding. You see, I heard you say I was desperate for attention, and that's why I wear a full face of makeup at the gym. But the real reason is that I work 14 hours a day and I don't have time to go home to get ready after my workout. Not because I am desperate for attention. And I heard you say I must have gotten a lot of work done to my body. And that's why my body looks like this. But the real reason is I used to be really overweight. So I started loving myself and worked out twice as hard. Not because I had had work done to my body. And I heard you said I must have a rich guy paying all my bills. And that's why I drive a nice car. But the real reason is I am the CEO of this company. And I've worked my butt off to get to where I am today. Not because I have some rich man paying for my bills. So you see, I look good, I feel good, I live a really good life because I worked hard for it. And I did it all by myself.
Wow. You look amazing, and that is such an inspirational story. I hope someday I can be as successful as you.
I appreciate that, but here's a piece of advice. You should never talk bad about it anymore because it can always come back to you. You're never going to be successful by tearing other people down.
we see how gossip, well, our first game, telephone, we can see how things can get around if passed through two mouths. Okay. Um, okay, there we go. So, and today we're going to be talking about gossip, the effects of gossip in that video, how it turned around to bite her. So, what is gossip? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, gossip is casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about people, typically involving details that aren't confirmed as being. In other words, spreading people's business. So how can this corrupt a congregation? Well, without looking at that, yeah, y'all tell me how it can corrupt a person or a congregation. Mm-hmm.
Encouraging outlook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It spreads what? Discord. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, those are all good points. So we're just gonna really quickly turn to Proverbs, chapter 10 and verse 18. Um, okay. um, and I'll go ahead and read this one because I added a few more verses. Whoever conceals hatred with lying lips and spreads slander is a fool. Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but the prudent hold their tongue. Verse 20. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver, but the heart of the wicked is of little value. The lips of the righteous nourish many, but the fools die for lack of sense. And then the last one, verse 23, I'm going to skip to 20. A fool finds pleasure in wicked schemes, but a person of understanding delights in. And then Proverbs 16, verse 28 says, did you want to read that? A perverse man sows strife in words. So as you can see, gossip isn't just harmless talk. You are sowing discord. You are doing all of these things that y'all said, along with igniting depression, and worst of all, it separates you from Christ. Um, and so, oh, sorry. How can this? Oh, well, it doesn't hurt to listen. Wrong. so, so if we read in Proverbs chapter 17, um, verse 4, if somebody could grab that. Yeah.
Wicked doer giveth, a liar giveth.
And Ecclesiastes 7, verse 5. So when you receive gossip, gossip isn't just, um, when you listen to it, you you are also partaking in the negative activity. It takes at least two people to gossip or more, you know. So if you're partaking in it, if you're giving that ear, that person is going to keep on coming to you. Going to keep on thinking, oh, they're listening, so maybe they agree with what I'm saying. So you're basically adding to that flame, adding to that fire instead of putting it out. congregation. Because, I mean, I feel like a lot of us have seen firsthand that it can't, it shows discord. When there's discord within a congregation, it is visible. Okay? And so there's no warm and loving environment. So it just shows. Oh yeah, go ahead.
That's like, when you listen to it, then a lot of times you start thinking a way about that. So if somebody has a problem with that person, this y'all do that, and then when you're in the presence of that person, you start thinking or start looking for the negative in that person. So then that draws a wedge in that person. So then there's three people that have a
it changes how you interact with them, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. It changes how you interact with that person that y'all been talking about or that you've been hearing about. So how can we avoid gossiping? So the first way, we can change the way that we gossip. Right? And one of the main reasons to deal with gossip is it as no big deal or as much bad sin. So in order to change this, we need to know how destructive the power of our tongue are. So if you turn to Proverbs, can someone grab 1 Peter 4:15 and I'll grab Proverbs 18:21. So Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." Okay? So, what someone has.
Well, let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief. You will be as a
One thing I did notice in the Bible, they also, as a synonym for gossip, they would say busybody. Somebody who basically doesn't have anything that goes on in other people. Matters. The second way we can avoid gossip is to refuse to listen to those who want to gossip. If you want to listen to gossip, if you listen to gossip, you will be tempted to pass it on, kind of like what Ariana said. If you refuse to listen, there will be no fuel to feed the fire. Gossip will contaminate you with damaging information that may hinder you from relationships which can help you grow in the Lord. And that's kind of like what Sister Ross said. You're talking about somebody negatively. You don't know them. They don't know you. But you're hearing about them. And now you don't know what kind of positive impact that they'll have on your life. But now you're thinking about them in the negative light. That's someone else who probably doesn't even know them as well either. And so that now they just hindered your relationship with them, and then both of you could have had something that could have brought both of you closer to the Lord. The third way is to examine your motives. So examine your motives for sharing information about another person. So you ask yourself a few different questions. As, why do I need to share this information with this person? Just a question for you to ask before you overshare. Is it to make me look good or to make another person look bad? Maybe I have a gripe about the other person and people decide. Or maybe it feels good to be in, maybe it feels good for people to come to you, asking for information that you may or may not have. So you want to examine your motives, make sure they're always positive, and make sure you always go to the Lord before you decide. Fourth way,
So is gossip always negative?
we're going to get to
Oh.
we're going to get to that. Yes.
one way is to to make it negative or to realize that it is negative, and we keep bringing up this word discord, is because there's things that God hates. And if we look at Proverbs 6:16, it says, these 6 things doeth the Lord hates. And so we can get in our mind that this is something that God hates. So we can get that in our mind that we should not do it. Is yet, 7 things are abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked imagination, feet that be swift to run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, which are the two lies, and then slowful, he that soweth, discord among brethren. So that right there let us know that anything that soweth discord between brethren is something that he hates. So if we can remember that and ask those questions before we start in on figuring out if we want to share things or overshare, then we'll realize that that's something that God really do despise. He doesn't want us, bringing into the congregation those things. And as I think one of y'all said, it makes the congregation not warm and fuzzy. It makes us not want to really be here. So that's something that, at least when I think about things, I'm like, wait a minute, when God hates these things, I don't really want to be a part of it. I try my best not to.
And if you look at it, I'm sorry. If you look at it, gossip can fall under the lying tongue. Okay. I'm just gonna say something real quick to piggyback off her. And before you think about it, or you think about receiving, or you think about talking about somebody, you do have to think about, is this pleasing to God? That should be the determining factor whether you partake in it. Is God going to be proud? Is this beneficial in my Christian walk? Oh.
So one word I keep hearing is think. And so I don't know if you, for those of you who have taught in the young class, I got a sign, and I did a whole month's lesson with the children on think, the acronym think. And so it's the same thing here. It's like, or we all basically need to use this. So when we think, as far as, what we're gonna say. So like think, the acronym. Before we say anything, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? So before we decide to share information, think. And if we do that, it will less likely, yeah, exactly.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I was going to say that a lot of times people who gossip, their reputation precedes them. So if they're comfortable coming to you with gossip and you notice that other people are too, then it's time to examine, like, why is that? Why are they comfortable? Why is that okay that they're comfortable coming to me with the intention of degrading someone or ruining their reputation? Because as everyone said, gossip not only takes away the atmosphere, but you also feel it. You also feel that tension, and you feel the disconnect in a congregation.
That's good, that's good.
All right. So the fourth way we can avoid gossip is use our tongue as an instrument of righteousness. We need to make a commitment to build others up in Christ. As we all here, then that means you have to examine. Our lives with, I'll grab the first one. Our first so First Timothy 5:13 says, and besides, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house. They're talking about widows. Besides, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and idle, saying things they ought. Therefore, I desire that the younger widows manage the house, give no opportunity to adversity. So this is basically, if you are idle or not doing, if you, I have nothing to do, I want to go on social media, start spreading gossip. I have nothing to do. And that's what we want to avoid. Our time to ourselves and our space. Can avoid these.
The way that they, the way they were addicted.
Even so much, I mean, so even so much about to be praised, not slanderous, sober.
So, for me, to avoid the problem, our lives with what questions should you ask when, so if somebody comes up to you with gossip, these are questions you can ask them or even to yourself before you hear. So if you ask the person, what is your reason for telling me? The person who's sowing discord may not have a good reason, and so he will not, they may not have. Where did you get this information? But
You'll know when it's helping versus laying it all on the line. Girl, da 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 did da da da, or social way and saying, look, I have a situation. These are things that can you help? You know, there's a way. Maybe when because how to will be gossip. It will be. You don't really know how to navigate and talk. Asia, young older women must go to the younger. Women, you know, and teach them.
yeah.
Or the slip up.
And I feel so like about
And that requires you to really look at your heart, like really be honest with yourself about really like what your intentions are, seriously. Because you may think or you may tell yourself, oh, my intentions are good. And if you tell yourself that long enough, you'll believe it. But, you know, God knows your true motives. And that's why we have to really, really just open our eyes and see our hearts. And then that's where the line comes in. That's where the line is drawn. So 1 Corinthians 1:11 says, for it has been those of his household that are intentions are continued. So he was told directly, he knows exactly what his source is. So if you know what your source is, not spreading or harmful information or normal. So if they don't, oh, I don't hear a lot, or something like that, I'm like, I know birds don't talk, so yeah, I hate that. But yes, and identify the research is probably. Oh, another question you can ask: have you gone to those directly involved instead of spreading? Don't like something, just go to them directly. So, Matthew chapter 18:15 says, moreover, your brother's sons sins against you, go and tell them his fault between him and him.
Matthew 18 is the one that, just from being in the body for a while, that I've noticed that we don't do such a great job in. It is one where we feel like we can't directly go to the person. And I've had people directly come to me, and I appreciate that. You know, even if I didn't agree with what they said or like it or however it is internally, spiritually, I was happy that they came to me because I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. This is the scripture that allows us to know that if I have an alt with you, if I have something that I need to directly come to you and not go to Sister Barry and it's the other Sister Barry, you know, because you're grown women. Like if I don't go to your mom if I have a problem with, you know, one of you, that doesn't make sense. So this is the one that makes me a little upset, because I'm like, we should be able to come to each other and say what it is and not hold that grudge after the fact. But I can appreciate it when it happens and it's followed the way that it's supposed to be followed in Matthew 18.
And add on to that, which one of you said it? This, yes. So if, like you said, if you have a problem with us, me and what you have a problem with, I may not like it. I respect it. I appreciate you coming to me instead of going up to someone else and then your problem with me. That right there will tell me, okay, well, I can't trust them if they can't come up to me with their issue. They want to go up to 5 other them, their issue, your issue. So that right there will cause a
I wanted to agree with Chase because I feel like in Matthew 18:15, in theory, we agree as a body. In application, we fall flat on that one. Because there's been a time too, I also have went to someone and it went directly the opposite of what should have happened. Even from the minister standpoint, I was told to go get their friend and talk to them. Instead of him facilitating that conversation after trying, even with my husband and other brothers, to go to a certain someone, And I feel like we probably need more study on how to do it and also how to receive it when someone does approach you, because that's what we're instructed to do, but a lot of times people don't do it because there's always a bad experience.
Another question we can ask is, have you personally got all of the facts? If you go up to somebody, having all the facts or up to that. So Proverbs 18:17 says, the first one to plead his case, his cause seems right until his neighbor comes cross-examines. So most of the times there's always two sides to the story. First person to always get their side out, oh, well, to be right, but then the other person cross may have it. So it's always important to check out all the information that you're dealing with. The other one told you, I checked this out. That's kind of like, have you gone to the sources? Where did you get? Can I quote you if I check this out? Can you check this out? Okay, now you could quote somebody. The person said that if it's to help someone. So how do we put out the flames of gossip? So I'll take it. All right, so this is like a little interactive. So the floor is open. I'm gonna have some questions, some scenarios, and then you're gonna say what is a good idea, or what can you say instead of adding to that flame, adding to that fire. All right. So when he says she should be ashamed of herself having another baby out of wedlock, this is just a bad example to the younger kids. What do you say? Mind your business. Mind your business. Short and sweet, okay? Anybody else?
That you willing to take that person to and talk to them spiritually.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm. Yeah, if you're willing. Oh, no, I was just gonna. So she said, unless you're willing to take that person aside and tell them, okay? And so the next one is, don't tell anybody, but I think she broke up with him because he cheated on her. What do you say? Did you guys? I think they broke up because he cheated. Mm. If you do not know, you do not know. Right? Okay. Like, that could be the answer for all of these. Mind your business. Not my business. I can neither confirm nor deny. All right. Did you see that Facebook post? Did you see what Sister Polly was wearing in that Facebook post? Isn't that disgusting? Oh, sorry. Can you? No, that mic right there. Yeah, and turn it on. Yeah, her voice is so small. Oh, say.
Can you hear me now? I would just ask them, have they went and talked to them about the post if it was offending to that person?
I said, did you want to get them some clothes if you ain't like it that bad?
Oh my goodness.
I might think it's cute, but I say we get it from. And can I wear it in private?
Right.
I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't post it on.
All right. All right. So the last one. I think this is the last one. I saw her in CVS last night or yesterday. She knows she could have come to church. Maybe she's not as devoted as she says. Oh,
I was gonna say that one's really good because I like to cook and I like to cook sometimes with wine. And my fear was always, what if someone sees me in this liquor store getting this, and I'm like, they're gonna think I, do this. And I'm like, but I like to cook with wine and that's where you go to buy it. So what would one of y'all say if you saw me in a liquor store? Or you saw me walk up, would y'all feel like, what's she doing there?
Aside from it, the CVS, the liquor store aspect, just being in the CVS. Okay, if I seen someone and they were in the CVS and worship was and they haven't been in worship, all I would do was come up to them and ask them, is everything okay with them, or something of that nature. I'm not about to put them on blast because I don't know their situation. Yet again, do I have to say it again? Mind your business as far as what you don't know until you talk to somebody. You can't just be making your own assumptions about what's going on with people until you talk to them. And if I have no relationship with them and I just see them, first and foremost, we're here to form relationships with people. So if you see somebody in the back corner you never talk to and you just see them at CVS and you up there making assumptions on where they at because you ain't seen them in the back corner the last 3 times, maybe it's your job now to say something to them about, hey, I hadn't seen you, right, or something. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Invite them back. It's a lot of ways to do that. We don't just assume that this or that. Maybe they're not forsaking the assembly. Maybe there's literally something going on with them. So we can't just assume that. So I'm never for this one, because this one right here is something that you need to really talk to the person about. Yeah. 'Cause, yeah.
And this situation could be one where,
I'm sorry, somebody else.
I was just gonna ditto everything she said because, we do that a lot. We put people on blast, and we don't know. We just don't know. Even like when people are late to church, they walk in at 11 o'clock, and I know, that's not a good look. But sometimes you don't know what it took for them to get there that morning. You don't know what they went through. So, we just have to be more sensitive. And like I said, if we do need to talk to them. If it's bothering you, talk to that person about it, And like I said, and it's all in love, exactly, it's all in love.
there's situations where you can either bring them closer to God or run them away from Tri-City.
Sister Dolores.
We like it.
I was gonna say that sometimes too, the person really appreciates the reaching out. Because I know during COVID, I appreciate the people who reached out to me when I wasn't here. It's not that I didn't want to be here, I was scared to be here. But that could be perceived as like, oh, you go out and do this and that. I'm like, no, I actually stayed home literally like a hermit. Like, I didn't do anything. But if people was to gossip or assume, they would think, oh, you just don't want to come to church and you're using COVID as an excuse. But it really says a lot when the person can reach out and get to know you or ask questions, because a lot of times there is a reason why someone's behaving a certain way.
I was gonna say, it's really important to get to know one another. Because sometimes we can make. I was just gonna say it's important to get to know one another, because we can make a lot of judgments and assumptions, and we really just don't know. I was looking at Romans, 16 and verse 17, and it says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them." When I think about gossip, it is very harmful and detrimental to a congregation. I mean, I've seen it. Usually, like you said, it's misinformation, it's a misunderstanding. And if we follow the precepts of the Bible and Christ, go to your brother if you have a problem. If you're not sure, go to your brother. Approach each one another in love. Then I think we would be better off for it. So
That's good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. All right. So, what are some words of life we can spread instead of gossip? All right. So, you should talk to Sister Selena about your situation. She could possibly share some wisdom to help you through it. Sister Janice is so creative. Did you see that style she did on the Jolly Girls? Did you see what Sister Roz was wearing? Loved it. Sister Joanne's twist out was popping. I think Jamia did it. I'm going to ask. Y'all need to taste Synt's banana pound cake. It's smack. She's an amazing baker. You need a photographer? I heard Sister Onna is great.
So, our discussion questions. So, how can you tell when a good story about someone crosses the line into sinful gossip? Girl. One thing I do want to add, I feel like gossip, unless you're trying to be a part of the solution or trying to give help, like Sister Roz said, it's sinful. So if you want to go up there or go to one of your sisters and just speaking about a certain lady who may be having having a little trouble in the church, or also in her personal life, you can go up to them and say, well, I think so and so needs help. What are some ways that we can help her get better or bring her back to church or something like that? You want to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. So that's one thing I do have to add.
So that was my question. So in a sense, that's not gossip.
Yes.
That's going to somebody to help you and help you, and that to help. You're going to get somebody else to help you help that person, not to talk about this person, but to see if you and I together come up with something to help this person.
And normally you can see where the conversation is going within the first couple sentences. So.
And again, it's about your true motives. What are your intentions? Are you really trying to help this person, or are you just trying to find out some information about this person?
I would say this, just to be transparent, this is one of the areas that I had to manage. And one of the books that helped me is called Tame Your Tongue. I forget who it's by, but if you look it up, it's called Tame Your Tongue. It's a couple of books in the series, Tame Your Finances, Tame Ya, and then whatever the thing is. And so I would say that you do have to think before you start talking, because just because you think that the information is not harmful, it can be harmful. And it may just be harmless sharing, but it's not harmful to another person. So I would say in the past, and I still have to catch myself. This is just a transparent moment. It's not something that I want you to be afraid of, that I'm gonna tell your business or anything like that. But I just know, you have to know yourself. And I know for a fact that I've gotten a lot better because I have managed to stop and think, because I'm like, okay, I'm a person that want to uplift another person, especially the ladies. Not that I cancel out the men or nothing, but I don't talk to them as much as I talk to the ladies. So, especially my sisters, that's not my goal. So definitely you do have to think about what you're saying before you say it. Think about what it's going to do to them. Think about the positions that you've been in, where you felt that someone has said something about you personally and how that made you feel. And so that's what I do at this point now. This is in my younger years when I didn't really know better, and I had to learn some hard lessons. And so I would say that now, just really think about what you're saying before it comes out your mouth.
That actually reminds me, so I'm glad you shared that, because I wouldn't consider myself in the drama. I wouldn't say, I used to be like, oh, at least I'm not talking about that person, but I would always be listening. I would always be where somebody was, talking and stuff, and so I would think it wasn't any harm done if I was just there, just in the doorway listening. No, but
That's me too.
yeah,
That's what I meant.
exactly,
There.
exactly. Yeah, but it's just as bad as if you're talking about that person. And one thing my mom used to say was, she would say, when somebody would tell her like some gossip or something like that, my mom would say, well, what did you say? Did you put an end to that, or like, what did you say to combat that, basically? So, yeah.
So I feel like we kind of covered question 2. Is it gossip to ask the counsel of a third party before you go to the one with whom you have a problem? If you're in the right spirits. But if you have a problem with someone, I'm doing that. If you have a problem with someone, I suggest you go to that person first. There's no need to involve other people if you don't have to. And if it's something that you can't solve by yourselves, okay, then bring in your third party together.
And we also got to remember, not saying anything is just as bad sometimes as saying something. If you know something and you hear somebody saying something and you don't say anything, that says a lot too.
One thing that helped me is also James. James talks a lot about your tongue, your tongue. Just read James. James is very instrumental in helping to tame your tongue. And also, pray about it. Pray before you start using your mouth to say anything to anybody. Prayer is very instrumental now for me before I want to listen. As soon as people start saying something about somebody, I probably start gliding my way on over to, if it ain't got nothing to do with me, I don't want to know about it. If it got something to do with me, then I need to know about what you're talking about. But if it ain't got nothing to do with me, then I'm going to move on about my business. But pray about it. I know that, we're talking about everything, but prayer is very instrumental in relaxing in your mind and allowing God to help you to close this. Be swift to talk. Not swift to talk, slow to talk. Be slow to talk, slow. Swift to hear, slow to wrath. You want to just allow him to work that out inside of you before you start just letting it all hang out.
And our last question, is it always wrong to share your negative impressions about a person to a third party? When might it be okay? The answer to this question. But does anybody have any other input?
Say it before. Again, think. Think. True, helpful, inspiring, necessary, kind. If you go through that before you say anything, again, it would, I just think it'll make the world a better place if we can do that. One last thing, I just want to say it has truly been a joy to sit here and watch you two present this lesson. I am so proud of you. You just don't know I'm so full. I'm so proud of you two, and I love you guys very much.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And that's all. Yes.
All right, so that's all we had.
Yes, I'll leave the closing prayer. All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for letting all who made it come out, Lord, and just listen. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak this morning. Thank you for all the ladies that came out and supported and just came through, Lord. I pray that we all make it to our destination safely after we leave here, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray.